Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. And if you are new, I'm Lydia.
I'm Jillian.
And this is Vintage Nectarine. Today's video, we are going to be talking about our fall book recommendations because it is September 1st, which I know is not officially the first day of fall, but September is always when I start thinking of fall. It's when we decorate for fall. My mom's birthday was the day before fall. So it always just, feels like fall comes September 1st. And we go back to school.
Yeah.
So that's fall. And as you can tell, I'm here with my daughter Jillian today because she is the other book-loving person in our house. She likes to talk about books as well. So we are both going to recommend some of our favorite fall type books. So, do you want to go first?
Sure.
All right.
The first one I have is Nancy Drew and the Secrets of the Old Clock.
Yeah.
I love how Carolyn Keene writes her characters and describes all of her things. In the first few sentences, she describes the main character's car, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And just the way this book is told and written and the story behind it is very interesting. I love all of the ways they describe things and the names of the chapters, the characters.
So when you read this book, what did you rate it? 1 through 5 stars, what would you give it?
I would give it a 4.
A 4? So this one's actually pretty cool. So this one is, it says 2 original mysteries back to back. And so we have mystery number 1 on this side, which is The Secret of the Old Clock. And then when you flip the book this way, you also have The Hidden Staircase, which Jillian hasn't read yet, but she's looking forward to reading that. Are you going to try to read this one this fall?
Yeah.
If she has time, because her mother gives her lots of books to read for school, don't I?
I normally don't get to read fun things during school because I have like 15 other books to read.
Yeah.
I have one each month.
It's the problem when your homeschool mom and teacher likes to read. She makes you read all the things. But I really like some of the illustrations in here. They kind of look almost like they were done kind of like print style.
Some of them look like they're made of letters, like
Yeah.
print letters, because of just the way they're done. Like this, it looks almost like a bee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And kind of in the wall. You can see if you guys can see, but kind of in the stones of the wall.
They look like E's and D's and B's that are just rearranged to make the different styles.
All right. So that was Jilly's first one. My first book I definitely recommend in the fall, but then also in the spring, and that is Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. Because of course I am happy to live in a world where there are Octobers. Anne of Green Gables has been a favorite series of mine since I was a kid. So I have read all of them. I love the Anne of Green Gables series. I really enjoy all the books. And then my favorite movie adaptation is the one with Anne Fellows in it. So I don't know if Jillian's actually seen that one. You saw Anne with an E, but I don't think you've seen that.
Yeah, I saw Anne with an E on Netflix.
Which isn't quite the same. But anyway, so definitely Anne of Green Gables. And I would recommend this for children and adults. I love this book. So Anne of Green Gables.
What do you rate it?
Oh, 5, for sure.
I only read half of it and I'm rating it a 5.
Yeah. I think with the classics, it's hard not to rate the classics as a 5 because they just stand the test of time. And I think all generations just love them.
It's The Witch of Blackbird Pond.
She just got done reading this one.
This one is about a girl named Kit who comes from Barbados, which is in the Caribbean, and she is from there and her grandfather died. So she went to go live with her aunt. And she gets married eventually to one of the other main characters. It is a very good book. It's told in a very good way. I rated a 5.
A 5. So this, I got this for Jillian to read as part of her summer reading because she's going into the 7th grade. And so I was having her read some of the recommended 7th grade books. And Kit Tyler knows as she gazes from the first time at the cold, bleak shores of Connecticut colony that her new home will never be like the shining Caribbean islands that she had left behind. She is like a tropical bird that has flown to the wrong part of the world. And in the stern Puritan community of her relatives, she soon feels caged as well and lonely. In the meadows, the only place where she can feel completely free, she meets another lone and mysterious figure, the old woman known as the Witch of Blackbird Pond. But when their friendship is discovered, Kit faces suspicion, fear, and anger. She herself is accused of witchcraft. So this book won the John Newbery Award, but she really, really liked it. And she has decided that this will be the book that she does her book report on from all the books that she read. So far this summer, she has read this one, To Kill a Mockingbird, Wonder. She's currently reading Tuck Everlasting, and she read A Wrinkle in Time. Okay, my next one is Coraline by none other than Neil Gaiman. I love this book. It's super short. It's a quick read. They made an amazing movie out of it.
It's one of your favorites.
It is one of my favorites. I love.
We watch it every October.
We do. We love the music in it. We love the animation. We love the animation in it.
Don't they?
I think so.
I think it's like Box Trolls, because Box Trolls is clay animation and they look the same.
I think so. But this story is just great. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'll just read the little blurb on it. In Coraline's family's new flat, there's a locked door. On the other side is a brick wall, until Coraline unlocks the door and finds a passage to another flat in another house just like her own, only different. The food is better there, books have pictures that write and crawl and shimmer, and there's another mother and father there who want Coraline to be their little girl. They want to change her and keep her with them forever. Coraline is an extraordinary fairy tale nightmare from the uniquely screwed imagination of the New York Times bestselling author Neil Gaiman. So the story for Coraline came about because Neil's daughter asked him one night if he would write a story that she could read, because
she was, I believe, 8 years old.
Yeah, because he writes very, creepy, dark stories, and so she was never allowed to read his books, and so he wrote this because she asked him to. If you haven't seen the movie or read the book, I think it's a great story for learning that what you have is better than, it's like the grass isn't always greener on the other side kind of thing. Because, she doesn't always love her parents and how strict they can be. And so she kind of, fantasizes about having another mother and another father who have better food and have more time for her. And then she soon realizes that that's not exactly what's going on. So it's spooky, it's dark, it's kind of got creepy moments. I would definitely recommend reading and watching. It can get a little scary, the movie. Yeah. I would not recommend it for little kids, that's for sure. Probably not anything younger than 10.
The other mother
can be, what is she called, Jillian?
She's called the Beldam.
Yeah, so
they call it the Beldam.
Yeah, the Beldam.
Which is actually a old fairy tale that was told to kids because it's a warning.
But I think I would give it 5 stars, the movie and the book.
I would give the book about 4 just because the book is a little scarier than the movie. It is just a little scarier, but the movie is a 5. Yeah. They do it in a good way that they portray the book.
Yeah. So, Coraline. Don't even think about it, Coraline Jones.
My next book is actually like an 8-part series. It's the complete Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock. We love Sherlock in this house.
I've read this book. I've listened to this book on audio like 3 times.
We definitely recommend the audio as well. The narrator is very good.
But the way this is written, they have like handwritten letters or notes he writes in the book. It's very cool. I have marked one of my favorite chapters in here. It's chapter 4.
Yes, so the story of the bald-headed man. So this is the Complete Sherlock Holmes Volume 1 by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And this is the Barnes & Noble's Classic Edition. And I'm not sure. So let's see what books are actually in this one.
On Audible, you get the Complete Sherlock Holmes, and they have volumes 1 through 7 in that. This is only volume 1, so there are 6 other books with all of his stories in them. But each book has 2 parts in it. And I believe in this book, they tell a story after Sherlock dies.
Yeah, so we have A Study in Scarlet, The Sign of 4, Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes and the Hound of the Baskervilles, which the Hound of the Baskervilles is probably one of my favorite stories. I love that one.
Yeah, it is one of the better ones. Just because of all of the different ties between his suspects, because after all, they're all tied together.
What do you rate Sherlock here?
Oh, I'd give it a 10.
10. She gives it all the stars. I agree. I love Sherlock Holmes.
I give it 5 and more.
Yeah. I actually don't know that I've really ever met a Sherlock adaptation that I haven't enjoyed. I love reading Sherlock. I love listening to audiobooks. My favorite, like made for TV is the BBC version with Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah, so Jillian, you like the Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law.
I really want to read the Enola Holmes books because I like her brother Sherlock, so yes. I want to read the Enola ones just to see how they do their things differently.
Yeah. So we recommend this one because it's mystery, it's spooky,
most of the stories are in the winter or the fall.
Jillian recommends the complete series of Sherlock Holmes.
I think I should do mine too last.
I'm also going to recommend The Ladies of the Secret Circus. Sayers read this as part of my yellow books in May, along with my dear friend Rachel. This book
I remember when you read this.
Yes, it is so good. It has magic and murder and, of course, circusy stuff, but it takes like circus life to a whole different place. And it kind of deals with like the underworld, and yeah, it's just, I absolutely recommend this. I believe I gave it a 5. But it says, enter the tent and discover a wonderful tale of lost love, family secrets, and sacrifice. It's told in like a dual time, which I love. Paris in 1925, and then we also have Virginia in 2004, and it kind of follows the same family. So it says, to enter the secret circus is to enter the world of wonder, a world where women weave illusions of magnificent beasts, carousels take you back in time, and trapeze artists float across the sky. Bound to her family's circus, Cecile Cabot knows no other world until she meets a charismatic young painter and embarks on a passionate affair that could cost her everything. Virginia, 2004. Laura Barnes is on top of the world until her fiancé disappears on their wedding day. When her desperate search for answers unexpectedly leads her to her great-grandmother's journal, Laura is swept up in a circuses and ill-fated love. Soon, secrets about Laura's family history begin to come to light, revealing a curse and claiming payment from the women in her family for generations. A curse that might be tied to her fiancé's mysterious disappearance. It's so good. I definitely recommend it. After reading it, Rachel and I found out there could be a second one, and I am so curious to find out what could happen next. I definitely recommended this. For sure.
You should do a couple more.
Yeah. The next one I recommend is this absolutely beautiful book called Snow and Rose by Emily Winfield Martin.
We read this one together.
Yep, I read this book out loud to the kids a couple years ago for school. Retelling of Snow White and Rose Red, who are sisters. And not only is the story super fun and it's kind of mysterious and you're trying to figure out right alongside the girls what's happening because their father goes missing, it has just the most amazing illustrations. I'm trying to find.
We did some artwork for school out of this, so we had to redraw some of the pictures in this book.
Like this one is beautiful of Snow and Rose and their mother, but my favorite one is of the Mushroom Boy. This one.
I did an illustration of what his house looks like underground.
Yep. So I definitely recommend this again to kids and adults. I love the blurb on the back. It says, Snow and Rose didn't know they were living in a fairy tale. People never do. It's just such an amazing book. And Emily does a great job not only of retelling this story, but also of illustrating it. So I gave this book 5 stars.
I gave it 5 stars.
And I'm pretty sure Noah liked it too. So
I think he liked doing the artwork more than he did listening to the book, because when we were...
But he liked the bear, and he liked the Mushroom Boy, and the gnome. So So
the gnome is funny.
yeah, there's a lot of little hidden treasures in this book, so we definitely recommend it. And then I'm going to recommend Theodosia and the Serpents of Chaos. I gave a full review of this book, I believe, after March.
I'm reading it for the second time.
Right, and we're going to read the next 3 books in the series for school this year. But I recommend this one for fall simply because it does deal with like museums and ancient artifacts and secret societies. But there's like a mystery element, and of course there's a cat that's possessed, so really.
She tries and takes a curse off of a statue, and instead of putting it into a wax figure, she puts it into a cat.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend this. It's super fun. I, as an adult, really enjoyed it, and I gave it 4 stars. But Jillian is also enjoying it as a middle schooler, so it's good.
And if I read a book like multiple times, you know I enjoy it.
Yep. So, and then I'm going to, of course, you can't do a spooky fall book recommendation without recommending Mrs. Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. I love this book. I have not actually read the other books in this series. I know my friend Nicole has, and she recommends them all the time. I have seen the movie that they created for this, which I also really loved. But the pictures in this book just alone are enough to kind of give you the creeps. Like some of the
ones on the back,
like the clown boys, and how right here we actually only see one little girl, but there's 2 girls in the shadow.
It's like the Ghost Twins when you read some of the like 1940s
Yes.
book ones. They're the Ghost Twins.
Yes. So I love this book. I'll just read the blurb. So, a mysterious island, an abandoned orphanage, a strange collection of very peculiar photographs. It all awaits to be discovered in Mrs. Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, an unforgettable novel that mixes fiction and photography in a thrilling reading experience. As our story opens, a horrific family tragedy sets 16-year-old Jacob journeying to a remote island off the coast of Wales, where he discovers the crumbling ruins of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. As Jacob explores its abandoned bedrooms and hallways, it becomes clear that Mrs. Peregrine's children were more than just peculiar. They may have been dangerous. They may have been quarantined on a deserted island for good reason, and somehow, impossible though it seems, they may all still be alive. A spine-tingling fantasy illustrated with haunting vintage photographs, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children will delight adults, teens, and anyone who relishes an adventure in the shadows. I love this book. I definitely give it 5 stars and would absolutely recommend it as a fun, spooky fall read. So
I wonder if I would like it just because I love
think
the
you
more
would.
spooky ones.
yeah. Hi guys, Lydia of the Future here. In editing, I realized I forgot to recommend 2 books that I absolutely love and think are perfect for the fall. And the first one is The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodosia Goss. It is such an amazing book. I did actually give a review of that book as well, so I can link it below. But it is a story of all of these different kind of creatures in stories such as Frankenstein and Dr. Moreau, and the women or daughters that they have created, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And these women go on an adventure to help Sherlock and Watson solve crimes. I absolutely loved it. I read it in March as part of my green books. I gave it 5 stars. I am completely in love with the entire series. So I always definitely recommend reading that book any time of the year, but especially in the fall. And then I also forgot to recommend Stalking Jack the Ripper. That book was recommended and reviewed in the same video that I talked about The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter. So again, if you want more information about that, you can watch that video that's linked below. It is by Carrie Manisalco, and it is incredible. It is about a woman in Victorian London who helps solve crimes, and during a time in which women were not allowed to study medicine or solve crimes, she goes on to kind of be a coroner and a medical practitioner, and she yeah, it's incredible. I absolutely love it. Kind of saw the ending coming, but still 100% loved it and recommend that one as well. Carrie has several books in that series, and I am crossing my fingers and hoping to get my hands on them so that I can read them in the new year. So I just wanted to pop in and recommend those 2 books because I forgot. So now back onto the video. So, okay, Jillian can do her last 2, which are technically the same thing, but we have 2 different versions of it that we love.
So the first one is my version of it. I have the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which I recommend all 7 of them.
Which one's your favorite?
My favorite one has to be the 3rd one, The Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh, same, mine's the Golden Goblet.
I can't, I love Sirius.
I do like Sirius too.
I hate when he dies in the 6th one, so.
Yeah.
But I love this one. And some of the like hand-drawn illustrations for the chapters, the Midnight Duel, are just really cool. But we also have this
the illustrated
giant
version.
one, which is
beautiful.
like just even the cover there, cover pages.
We definitely recommend all Harry Potter books as a whole. The series we definitely give a 5. As you heard, we like some books more than others.
There is one. She gave me the entire series, but her least favorite is the 2nd one. And she ripped 3 whole chapters out of that book.
I was crafting. I bought her a new one.
Yes.
I love this picture of Harry in the sorting hat. So, yes, we definitely always love Harry Potter. We
I
watch
recommend
him.
watching the movies after reading the books because the movies are way different.
Yes, there's way more in the books. We definitely watch them in the fall. We really just like them all year round, but for the fall, they are perfect. Because,
I will watch or read them whenever.
Because I'm pretty much, to me, fall is all things cozy, all things wizards, all things hocus pocus. And then I'm going to also recommend The 13th Tale by Diane Sutterfield. I absolutely love this book and Diane's writing in general. This book, it definitely has a kind of twists and turns that you don't expect. It is kind of a mystery told, again, in dual times. An author who is dying decides to give her life's story, and she decides to tell about her 13 tales. I have also done a full review of this book, so I will leave that video linked below if you would like to hear more about it. This is one of those books, it was a book I could not put down. I loved every minute of it, and it did not at all end the way I expected. I'm usually pretty good at figuring out the end, and by the time the end of this one came, I was like, wow, I did not see that. And I love this book. 5 stars for sure. And then last but not least, I'm actually going to be recommending a book I have not read yet. It is on my November TBR list, but it is called The Haunting at the Bonaventure Circus by Jamie Jo Wright. This book is said to be spooky and all things but my dear friend Rachel has read it and she highly recommends it, so I know it's going to be good and I cannot wait to read it. So I will be reading this in November. If you'd like to read along with me, please do so, because I love circus books in the fall, because there's just something about circuses and old time, I don't know, dark underbelly magic that just kind of... Please let us know in the comments below if you have read any of these books. If you have, please let us know if you liked or did not like them, what your rating for them would be. And if you haven't read any of them, is there one that sounds interesting to you that you think you would like to read in the fall? Of the ones that you haven't read, Jillian, which one sounds the most exciting to you?
Of the ones I haven't read, I want to read the circus one you read.
I think you'd like Miss Peregrines too. So definitely do. But anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. If you liked this video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please click that subscribe button so you can be notified anytime we have new content on this channel. We do all kinds of things here, bookish content, homeschool content, and of course, lots of Disney DIY type things and unboxings.
And sometimes just vlogs.
Family vlogs as well. Thank you so much for hanging out. We will see you very soon. Bye.